it's recently come to my attention that you're not just playing churches or doing the latest Christian tour. You're kind of opening it up a little bit and kind of going out to where people really need to hear messages like, maybe it's okay that I'm not okay.
Yeah, so I think you have two choices when we're really fortunate and blessed to have a platform. And you have two choices. One is you protect your career and you build your career and you grow that thing, or you do the things that you're passionate about. And I think both are possible. So for the longest time, we've wanted to go into inner city clubs, play shows where people would normally not attend. Because honestly, you can pretend all you want that everybody wants to come to a show in a church, but it's just not the case. A lot of people are put off by the idea of it being in a church. So we want to go to inner cities where there is no excuse to come. Now the thing is, Wally, if we go there and our music is not good enough, it's not going to work. But I think that we write music that connects with human beings. And God's all over it. He's got a stamp all over it, but the songs are for humans. And I haven't met one human who's not broken, messy, fallen apart, full of joy, and all of those things in or outside the church. So we want to I want to use what we have to reach out. And here's the key, I'll tell you this is the truth. See, within the industry, not a lot of people want us to do it.
Right.
That's the truth.
But because of the judgments or because of what people think, and that's the problem. Like what people think gets in the way of what should be happening in true gospel.
Well, you look at who Jesus went to. He always goes to the outsider, to the marginalized, to those on the fringes. And so we want to be able to reach there. We love the church. It's our home, but we also want to reach outside the walls of the church because that's the Great Commission. The Great Commission always sends. It never says stay. It always says go. It never says stop. And so I guess that's what we've always been about and what we want to do.
Well, like you, though, I mean, you cutting your teeth in pubs in Ireland, like I don't worry about you in the clubs. Like you're going to be fine. Other artists, I think, would get eaten alive there, And so you're built for this. Okay, here's an example. We got Darren from We Are Messengers. Like Toby Mac. Like I love Toby. We're friends. I've talked to him for years. And he will tell you, he'll be the first to tell you, dude, I am for the church. Like yes. I was made for this. This is where God has me. This is where I think I'm supposed to be. Yeah. And that's not your calling. And that's the beautiful thing is that we all can reach different people. You are such a glorious mess, and I mean that as a compliment.
That's the sweetest thing you've ever said.
Thank you. Like that's where you should be. And so do you do your shows in these clubs and these non-traditional venues differently than you would do, say, a church show?
Maybe. I guess we take a little bit less time talking and a little bit less interactive time with the audience.
Sure.
We trust the songs maybe more in those environments. I think the key is to use the songs as conversation starters. That's why we write the songs. We write the songs so that people would start to have conversations about the difficult things in life. And in doing so, that we would introduce them to our hope, which is Jesus. So you can't really go into a show, in like the End in Nashville, the End Bar Club, where we're playing. You can't really go in there and start praying on your first song because half the audience is going to walk out.
Right.
So what, Paul talks about, he says, I've become all things to all men so that some men might come to know him, right? And so I guess you have to tailor, your performance, what you do to an audience, not water it down, but make sure that it's the most impact and the most effective it can be. And we do that in churches too. Christian bands are tailoring their sets every night to their Christian audience.
For sure.
And we do it in radio and we do it in every form of media. So I don't think it's us selling out. If anything, honestly, again, I can't lie, it costs me a ton of money to do these shows. These are the one shows that we don't make any profit on.
Really?
I lose money every time we do this. And
you're a good businessman.
If we can use the shows where it is profitable to go and lose money on things that we're really passionate about, I'll do that 100% of the time.
Well, that's the outreach part of it, and the important part, because you mentioned that's where Jesus was. That song, God of the City, like I love that song. Have you ever heard that song?
Yeah, that was written by an Irish guy.
Yeah, I do, yeah. Like you Irish folk, you guys are something else. But like it was written in a red light district too.
Yeah.
And so people don't realize that Jesus is for everybody. I think we forget that. Like they think the only place to meet him is at church when that song just resonates with people, and your music is tailor-made for reaching people that are lost and hurting and broken in such a cool way. And the other thing is I know you'll go and play and not evaporate after the show. Like that's the thing. Like you're a good hang.
We'll hang there. Like honestly, we'll play the show at the end. We'll be the last one to leave that room. And it's not like we're hanging backstage waiting until
Right.
we walk on stage. We'll be sitting out chatting to everybody that comes.
Yeah, you'll be hustling people at the pool table. I know you.
Actually, that was one of the skill sets that the Lord did give me in my past life.
So, but that's the thing, though. Like, that's where the ministry part happens. So you go up and you win fans with the music, but then that's where the deep part happens is when you're just one-on-one with people. You're infectious, man, and like your story connects with people, and I think that this is so cool that you're doing this.
Mate, I got to tell you, I'll keep it real quick, Wally, but so we played this show at this End Bar. It's a club in Nashville. It was an 18-plus show, a couple of them last year. And on the first of those, there was a young lady, and I won't mention her name, but she was in the front row, and we were singing Maybe It's Okay. You know, we had sang it live. It hadn't been released. But she knew the song word for word, and she was standing in the front row singing it word for word. And I was like, how did you know the song? Because it hasn't been released. And she had heard it at a show a couple of months ago, 4 or 5 hours away. So her and her mother drove to the show.
Oh, wow.
So after the show, this young lady told me, and she tried to take her life the week before, but it was the song Maybe It's Okay was the thing that kept her hanging on. And so she held on to life because of the song. But here's where it turns tragic. So she was due to come to the show, in Nashville this week. And I had become friendly with them, and I'd given them a phone number. And I don't always do that. You know?
Right.
But her mom texted me a couple of days ago to say that this young girl had tried to take her life again.
Oh,
she was in intensive care. So anyway, 2 days ago, I got the call late at night that this wee lassie had died.
Oh,
she had
man.
taken her life. And so her mother, what they're doing at the funeral is they're playing this song. They're all going to have Maybe It's Okay If I'm Not Okay t-shirts to raise mental health awareness.
Sure.
So they're using the song to reach that. But the point I'm making is that girl was in a club just looking for hope, any kind of hope to hang on to. And so if we have something to say, we got to share that, and we can't confine it just to our comfortable, cozy, career-building, lukewarm nonsense. I've got to go out beyond that. And so we got to take risks, because I was just saying it outside, right? And I'm trying to be kind. I love the church. I love our community. But there are things that we're not so good at. One of those is actually discussing mental health,
Right,
and raising awareness. In the country music community, they're really excellent at that, and we can learn from that. So I think artists and the industry as a whole, incredible people like Porter's Call, we need to really, really start focusing on how can we reach a whole community of people who maybe feel stigmatized because they don't look happy, or they're not happy, or they're depressed or anxious. And so I don't care where I reach them. If I reach them in the church or in my home or in our small group, or if I reach them in a club in inner city Nashville, the point is we're going after them because they're me. And you, Wally.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Well, that's the thing, man. Like, you could look at that story and you could go, well, that didn't have a happy ending in this girl's life. And that, like, how is that a good story? Yeah. But the thing is, she met you, and she met music, and there's a chance she met God through this too. And she wasn't healed or happy or, complete, like who among us is, but you gave her hope in that end. And there's a great chance that she had met God, and so like that's what you have to hold on to. Like, I had somebody that, and this isn't like a let's compare tragic stories thing, but I encouraging you in that, like, I had somebody that had reached out to me in email, and we were going back and forth, just had started, and this guy took his life, and it wrecked me. Like, I just wrecked me. I mean, I get like choked up thinking about it today still, because his mom emailed me from his account, and I'm like, oh, good, he's doing all right. And she's like, I hate to tell you this, but he took his life, and it just floored me. And I was like, well, I failed. What I failed. And she was like, no, you gave him hope, and you were there with him at the end of his life.
You're right.
That
Come on.
is tough, man. Like, and it hits me to this day. And so to be where people are and where people are hurting is a gift and a blessing that we get every day to do this stuff.
You said it. I'm really proud of you, by the way, Wal. The other night when I got the call, immediately I went to I didn't do enough.
Right.
Or like, God, I thought this song was here designed to rescue people, and it has done by the thousands and thousands. But what about this girl?
Yeah,
God,
you focus on the one.
Focus on the one. I'm like, why this wee girl? God. And he didn't give me an answer. There was no answer for it. And unfortunately, that's just real life. It doesn't end happy all the time. Not everyone gets healed. Not everyone is restored. But it's not our job to heal or save anybody. Our job is to love people while we can, when we're with them, and give them as much hope as we can.
And that's exactly what you did for this girl, and that's really cool, man.